Caitlin doesn't play, it halves. And how are we meant to know that if Caitlin ends up missing a year, Caitlin's gone, that all those fans don't just leave again?
They know they need Caitlin Clark to grow this league, man.
But like, it is another situation than pretending like Caitlin Clark doesn't exist.
They want to make the trajectory look like it's going up and not down. It's whatever, man. We see what's going on.
They're trying to make it so that the data looks as favorable as possible.
ESPN didn't want to show the ratings were down from WNBA All-Star Game because Caitlin Clark didn't play, so they just used the 2023 numbers instead.
ESPN.
What if I told you that one of the biggest sports networks in the world just got caught red-handed manipulating data to hide the most embarrassing truth in women's basketball? What if I told you that ESPN, the so-called worldwide leader in sports, deliberately twisted numbers, cherry-picked statistics, and straight up lied to millions of viewers about the WNBA All-Star Game ratings? And what if I told you that their deception was so obvious, so blatant, that their own journalists started calling them out on social media? This isn't just about numbers on a screen. This is about a cover-up so massive that it exposes the uncomfortable reality ESPN desperately doesn't want you to know. Without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA is bleeding viewers faster than a punctured basketball loses air.
Yes, you guys heard me correctly. The numbers are in. And just like I told you, there was a boycott.
You got to understand, these numbers, they did like 2 million viewers. That's up from 2023. 2023 was a little over 900,000. So it is up. So the numbers are going up. But compared to last year, it fell by 40%.
Oh, so they going to try to spin it. Okay, it could be the second most watched of all time. Of course, it's going to be that, but compared to last year, you still down 30.
The truth they're hiding is absolutely devastating. The 2025 WNBA All-Star Game didn't just underperform. It crashed and burned with a catastrophic 36% ratings nosedive that sent shockwaves through the entire sports media landscape. We're talking about a collapse from 3.44 million viewers in 2024 down to a measly 2.2 million in 2025. But here's where it gets
They're just skewing data. They're just skewing data.
So it's up 158% compared to 23. What happened to 24? Y'all just gonna skip over 24? Like,
Thing is, you know, this could be disingenuous too. That's the bad side of it, because for some reason they have a thing where they want to compare everything without Caitlin. They're like, oh, well, you know, she's an anomaly, so we could compare these numbers to 2023 and show you that without Caitlin, it's growing.
This is very similar to the WNBA draft, comparing it to 2023. Very similar to how they are presenting this.
Absolutely wild. Instead of reporting these numbers honestly, ESPN decided to play the most obvious shell game in sports media history. They completely ignored the 2024 benchmark and compared the 2025 numbers to 2023 instead, manufacturing an illusion of growth where none existed. Think about how desperate that move really is. Imagine if your favorite team lost their championship game, but the sports media only compared their performance to how they played 3 seasons ago when they were terrible, just to make them look good. That's exactly what ESPN did, and they thought nobody would notice. But the basketball world is smarter than they gave us credit for, and the backlash has been absolutely brutal. If you believe Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's only true needle mover, drop needle mover in the comments right now.
So for all the people that thought that it wasn't a boycott against this All-Star game, it was, bro. People was just DMing me, telling me that they wasn't going to look at it. People was telling me that they refunded their tickets. I was even supposed to be there, and I decided not to go because of the things with the referees and the WNBA disrespecting Caitlin.
1,250,000 viewers, woof, out of existence. No Caitlin Clark, not tuning in.
Because what I'm about to show you will prove that point beyond any shadow of a doubt. Here's what actually happened when you look at the real numbers without ESPN's statistical gymnastics. The 2025 All-Star Game pulled in around 2 million viewers compared to just 900,000 in 2023. On the surface, that looks like growth, right? Wrong. When you factor in the 2024 numbers that ESPN conveniently left out, you realize we're looking at a catastrophic 40% drop year over year. But ESPN buried that inconvenient truth deeper than a time capsule, hoping nobody would dig it up. And here's what makes this deception even more absurd. This All-Star Game was held in Indianapolis, Caitlin Clark's home arena. This should have been the perfect storm for massive ratings.
Oh, you guys are just trying to uplift one player. Oh, the league is more than one. I agree, the league is more than one player. It's more than one good basketball player. But is there more than one player that moves the tide? No. We just have to be honest. It's okay.
Home crowd advantage, local hero appeal, maximum media attention, everything was aligned for a triumph. Instead, it became a ratings disaster so embarrassing that ESPN had to resort to statistical manipulation just to save face. The network had the audacity to plaster a 158% increase statistic everywhere, comparing 2025 to 2023, while completely ignoring that they had spent the entire season crediting Caitlin Clark for record-breaking viewership numbers. It's the same playbook they used during the WNBA draft coverage, always reaching back to pre-Clark numbers to manufacture false narratives of growth. But let's talk about the moment that started this entire domino effect of economic collapse. July 15th, mark that date on your calendar.
That are just Caitlin Clark fans. I said this yesterday. If Caitlin Clark was to lead to go to New York or any other damn team, expect significant impact in the Indiana Fever viewership, bro. People might tune in for that first season without Caitlin if she was to leave, but after that, it is over with.
There was plenty of people I saw online who said, yo, Caitlin Clark not playing. Oh, she's hurt and they don't want to call fouls. Okay, I'm not giving them a view. I'm not gonna watch. There was plenty of people that boycotted watching this WNBA All.
Because it's when everything changed. Caitlin Clark suffered a groin injury during the Indiana Fever's game against Connecticut, and the market reaction was swift and merciless. Within hours, ticket prices for WNBA games crashed by 48%, dropping from $121 to $64. The message from fans was crystal clear. Without Caitlin Clark, we're not interested. This wasn't just a minor market correction. This was a full-scale economic earthquake that exposed the WNBA's complete dependency on one player.
When Caitlin doesn't play, it happens. And how are we meant to know that if Caitlin ends up missing a year, Caitlin's gone, that all those fans don't just leave again?
They know they need Caitlin Clark to grow this league, man.
Think about how unprecedented that is. In a league that's supposed to be built on parity and multiple superstars, one player's injury caused ticket prices to nearly cut in half overnight. Clark, who had never sat out a game in college, suddenly found herself missing 10 games in her rookie season, and each absence felt like watching the league's life support machine get unplugged. The All-Star Game viewership of 1.25 million viewers tells the real story. Without Clark, the WNBA wasn't just losing viewers, it was being erased from
Put up 153, just say 2.2 million average viewers, and then just say second most watched All-Star Game ever behind 2024, which is fine. You don't even have to say how down bad it is. It's a PR page.
Instead of trying to down Caitlin Clark and diminish her to the level that other people may be at, why don't you promote the other people alongside of Caitlin Clark's
stream consciousness? Fans were demanding ticket refunds, social media was flooded with boycott announcements, and the uncomfortable truth became impossible to ignore. This league rises and falls with one person. So how did ESPN respond to this crisis? With the most sophisticated sleight of hand in sports media history. They carefully selected their comparison data from 2023, the pre-Clark professional era, and deliberately omitted any mention of the 2024 benchmark numbers that would have revealed the truth. It was statistical surgery performed with the precision of a master magician, designed to distract from the fact that ratings had dropped by over 1 million viewers year over year. ESPN plastered that misleading 158% increase statistic everywhere they could, knowing full well that it painted a completely false picture of the league's trajectory. They were banking on viewers not doing the math, not asking the hard questions, and not noticing the convenient gaps in their data presentation. It was narrative manipulation at its finest.
If Caitlin Clark was in it, we're going to say it's up on non-Caitlin Clark numbers because, you know, Caitlin Clark's just an anomaly. Caitlin Clark's not a player. Caitlin Clark is not relevant to this. Caitlin Clark is an anomaly.
Y'all are trying to straddle the fence. We want your money, but we don't want you. Which one is it? Which one is it? We want the viewership, but we only want viewership from certain people's fans. we want the ratings up, but we don't want these type of like, no, do you want it or not? You got to accept what comes with everything, the good, the bad.
Designed to protect their investment in women's basketball at the expense of journalistic integrity. The league had spent months arguing that they were more than just one player, that their success was built on collective talent and growing fan engagement. But when the All-Star Game failed to deliver, ESPN's tone shifted so dramatically it gave everyone whiplash. Suddenly, the same network that had been crediting Clark for record-breaking numbers was downplaying individual impact and focusing on long-term growth narratives. Even the
Many other people stated that, you know what, it was sold out. It was not a boycott. Well, you know the old saying, men lie, women lie, and the numbers don't. This is a case of the numbers.
Friday Night Skills Challenge numbers tell a story of desperation. 1.3 million viewers tuned in, representing an 89% jump that ESPN celebrated like it was a championship victory. But they conveniently forgot to mention that these numbers were driven by format tweaks, primetime scheduling, and fan hope that Clark might still make a surprise appearance. It had nothing to do with overall league interest and everything to do with Clark's gravitational pull on the basketball universe. The economic ripple effects went far beyond television ratings. Clark's absence triggered a
I believe that it's everything also leading up to this. I mean, talk about leading up to this. The officiating, I think enough fans had it up to here with the league as a whole. People had it up to here. You got to understand. Caitlin Clark is getting beat up in these games. The refs aren't calling anything. Kathy Engelbert seems to have air between both of her ears. She seems to have pure air floating between her ears. And I think people are
comprehensive collapse across the WNBA's entire business model. Ticketing revenue plummeted, merchandise sales nosedived, and sponsorship valuations came under intense scrutiny. The league lost its center of gravity, and the market responded with brutal honesty. That 48% ticket price crash wasn't just a number. It was a consumer rebellion that sent a clear message about where the real value lay. Social media exploded with cancellations and boycotts as fans made their preferences crystal clear. The WNBA wasn't just losing numbers, it was losing momentum, credibility, and the mainstream attention that Clark had single-handedly delivered. ESPN's number cooking became an increasingly desperate
referees not giving Caitlin Clark a fair whistle. The whistle played into facts when it comes to this WNBA All-Star Game. I don't give a damn how people try to spin it, cut it. You cannot cut the facts, and the facts is the WNBA All-Star Game was a disaster before it even
attempt to prevent sponsor and advertiser panic, but the truth was becoming impossible to hide. The media criticism started pouring in from unexpected places. Christine Brennan, one of the most respected voices in sports journalism, took to social media with a viral call-out that cut straight to the heart of ESPN's deception. Her question was simple but devastating. Why are you promoting historic ratings?
So many of you have probably been waiting on this, as have I. But the WNBA All-Star Game ratings have come out, and all I could think of right off the bat was 4 little letters. F-A-F-O. F around and find out.
Here's what this all comes down to. ESPN's desperate attempt to rewrite the All-Star Game story reveals their own disbelief in the WNBA's viability without Caitlin Clark. When the network with the most financial investment won't tell the truth about ratings dependency, it raises serious questions for sponsors, fans, and players about why anyone should buy into the hype.
You bleep around and find out what this league looks like without Caitlin Clark being involved in your biggest events. Kathy Engelbert, this should be a perfect example of why you need to get your officiating cleaned up, and you need to have a talk with your players in the league. And nobody's asking you to hold Caitlin Clark's hand. Just play fair.
Real growth doesn't require deception, and Caitlin Clark certainly doesn't need ESPN to fake numbers to prove her impact. Her influence speaks for itself through authentic fan engagement, legitimate market responses, and genuine cultural moments that can't be manufactured by statistical manipulation. The numbers don't lie, even when the networks do. If you believe Caitlin Clark is the true needle mover in women's basketball, drop that phrase in the comments and make sure to subscribe because this story is far from over.
You see, this is exactly what we were talking about. WNBA All-Star ratings are in for 2025, and it is down 40%. 40% from last year. That's bad. That is really bad. We already watched the ticket prices drop by more than 50% because Caitlin Clark was not playing. This is bad news for the WNBA, and this should be a wake-up call.